Hello, Paul here, and welcome to this week's MotorZen News.
You could try to play it, but you're never gonna be.
Can synthetic fuel save the internal combustion engine? I've been looking at this and listening to all the chat around synthetic fuel, and I've got some bits and pieces of information now which we'll go forward. Fossil fuel are created by the pressurization of organic matter over millions of years. Well, synthetic fuel imitates this, and in the process it uses vast amounts of electricity, which in order for synthetic fuels to be green, this electricity needs to be green electricity. It does produce, when you burn synthetic fuel, you do produce carbon, but you absorb carbon in the production of synthetic fuel. So the theory is that one negates the other. So that's not seen as being an issue. Porsche have built a facility in Chile to produce synthetic fuel. And the reason they've gone to Chile is because there's lots of wind and they can produce lots of renewable electricity via wind. They are running the Porsche Super Cup, running the GT4 RS on synthetic fuel. But the thing that was always concerning me when I looked at synthetic fuel is it seems like it's very, very energy intensive and labour intensive to produce this synthetic fuel. And I've just got some figures, and they're suggesting that it's current today. We're all concerned about the price of petrol and diesel. Well, synthetic fuel looks like it'll be around $10 American a litre. So 50 litre tank is costing $700. So I've always been thinking that this possibly is a reason why synthetic fuel may not be a runner. And it looks like that's going to mean that it's going to be possibly something that would be just the reserve of motorsport. Iveco was bought by a company called CNH back in 2013. CNH is the company that owns Case Agricultural and Case Construction. It owns Steyr Tractors. It owns New Holland Agricultural and Construction, and it had Iveco incorporated into that group of companies as well. But the deal, they've just gone their separate ways, and just recently Iveco has signed a deal with Hyundai. So we're going to see partnerships now between Hyundai and Iveco, and they're going to be working on things like electric powertrains, fuel cell technology, automation and connectivity. So we're going to start to see a lot of relationships there, and possibly see Hyundai develop even more into the heavy truck side of things. There's a company in England called X-Track, and X-Track build all the transmissions for WRC cars, they build all the transmissions for British touring cars, and they build all the transmissions for Indy cars, to name but a few. They're very heavily involved in performance and motorsport, and they're just launching an apprentice academy in their facility in England. They've got 16 separate departments, so if somebody goes through this apprentice academy, they get knowledge in 16 different departments within the company over a 16 to 48 month period. And the reason I bring this up is that a lot of people from Ireland work within the motorsport industry in the UK. Like, for example, a lot of people work with M Sport, the people that build the Fords. But really, when you look at M Sport, a lot of what you do is fit components to the car, because the engines are built by one company, and the transmissions, for example, are built by X-Track. So you don't really get down into the nitty-gritty of the systems that are on the car. But I think it's interesting, if someone was looking at motorsport as a career, a company like X-Track would be a really, really interesting career. Mercedes-Benz is investing in its own battery recycling plant, and what they're trying to achieve is what they call the circular economy with their vehicles. So the vehicle is green from start to finish. So at the end of its life, what they're trying to achieve is a situation where 96% of the vehicle is recycled. And in regard to the battery, you're going to recover graphite, cobalt, nickel, manganese and lithium. And ultimately this is going to mean that there's much less mining of those rare resources. And it kind of answers that argument where people say, yeah, but what happens to this vehicle? What happens to the battery at the end of its life? Well, in Mercedes' case, we just strip it down, take all the components out and build another battery and start all over again. So it's going to be interesting to watch them develop that out. John Deere are going to release a tractor with an electric PTO. So effectively, it's just a power lead coming off the back of the tractor. The tractor is called the e-Autopower 8R410, and where they're going with this is that ultimately we're going to have tractors with no hydraulics. So there's a lot of work to be done here from the point of view that every implement you put in the back of the tractor now needs hydraulics. So they have to work now with implement manufacturers to create the implements that's going to go back on the back of the tractor that doesn't need hydraulics. And in that case, they're working with Joskin. They're building a 3-axle slurry tanker with them at the moment. That slurry tanker is going to have 2 drive axles, and those 2 drive axles are going to be run by an electric motor, not on the wheels or the hubs as such. It's going to be a normal diff running drive shafts going out to the motors. The tractor is going to have 2 alternators in the back axle. It's going to produce 100 kilowatts of power to drive those implements on the back. Ultimately, what this is going to achieve is you're not going to have belts, chains, pulleys, bearings, which are all items that produce friction, which is all a loss of energy. So ultimately where they're going is they're saying this is a much more energy efficient in construction and energy efficient in its use. BMW have just finished winter testing on their iX5 hydrogen. Now this is a fuel cell vehicle, so it is running 2 electric motors. But in that winter testing, what they discovered was that in low temperatures they're not losing any efficiency. They're getting full power and exactly the same range. They're going to launch this vehicle later this year, but they're not saying how many of these vehicles they're going to produce. We're all very aware that many suppliers we're dealing with now are struggling to get stock. The lead times are really long. Well, one supplier that doesn't have that problem is Redmount Lifts in Dundalk. They continue to order their normal schedule of ordering right the way through the pandemic. So right now they've got a fully stocked warehouse of almost every single lift in the range. So if you're in the market for a lift, talk to them because they can deliver immediately. Colin McRae's 2001 Ford Focus WRC car went to auction last weekend and it reached the price of £423,000. It's a world record for a World Rally car at auction, and they guided the car at 300 to 350,000. This is the car that Colin McRae used in the 2001 World Championship. He used the car on Rally GB, the last round in November 2001. On the second last day of that rally, he was battling with Richard Burns for the World Championship, and he rolled that car 5 or 6 times on a corner on a stage on the Saturday afternoon. So, very historic car, but an incredible price that was given for it. We've got that video piece, so we're showing it to you now of that actual accident. The only thing I hope is that the guy that bought the car was told it just got a wing and bonnet, so I hope he didn't see this video. Staying with rallying, last weekend was the first round of the Irish National Rally Championship. Fascinating this year, massive array of cars and a massive diversity in cars, which is shown here in the top 4 finishers. Josh Moffat won the rally in the Hyundai, Robert Barbel was second in a Volkswagen, Stephen Wright was third in a Fiesta, and Darren Gass was fourth in a Citroen C3. So a massive mix of vehicles in that event, and really exciting championship going forward. There's a new rally show done. Well, Flying Finn Motorsport always done good footage of it, but they've joined forces with Killian Duffy and Rory Williams, and they've put together a fantastic show. And if you want to see that, look at the link in our description, because it's really worth watching. It's TV quality show, giving you a full breakdown on the competitors, their times, their position, and then their final positions at the end of the rally. Just a quick one we'll end on. Customer in the UK, 2017 R8 V10 Quattro. Yeah, nice car. £87,000 he gave for buying it off a third party non-Audi dealer a couple of months ago. He left it into the Audi dealer and got a service on it. The service was £4,500. 2 weeks later, he was hearing a noise from the gearbox. He brought it back to the Audi dealer. Week or two after that, they rang him up and says, yeah, that's ready. He was expecting a bill of £5,000 to £10,000. The bill was £31,289. So nice bit of money in that job. It's nice, I'm out and about there and I'm talking to some people that have watched the videos, and I'm getting some good feedback. But if you could, please, if you could like, comment and subscribe, because we really want to do more stuff. We've got lots of ideas and we want to start to communicate and connect and talk to the trade. That's what we're trying to do.